Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. Welcome, beautiful souls, to this special National Grief Awareness Day edition of the Women Breathe Again podcast. I am Dr. Margaret Reed, and today we are creating a safe and sacred space for women walking the journey of grief, whether from the loss of a child, a loved one, or a relationship, a home, or even part of themselves. Grief touches every part of us, but healing is possible one breath at a time. I am honored to be joined by two incredible speakers tonight. Each of them will bring a unique perspective from personal experience to professional insight. And together, we hope to inspire you with strategies, understanding, and affirmation as you navigate your healing journey. This is the Woman Breathe Again Holistic Center. Let me say good evening to you, ladies. How are you all doing?
Wonderful.
Awesome, awesome. Today is National Grief Awareness Day, and I just want to thank you for being here with us. Um,
Pleasure.
let's start by asking, what is grief? But before we do, allow me to introduce Mrs. Pericles Fredlin, Madam Fredlin.
Yes.
And tonight, let me warn you that we are going to be bilingual. So we're going to flip. Sometimes we speak some Creole and sometimes we speak some English, so we can communicate with both our communities, right? And so tonight, Miss Fredlin, can you please tell us about yourself, what you do, and we're gonna go into what is grief to you after we introduce Dr. Peggy.
Okay, so my name again is Fredlyn Pericles. I work full time Miami-Dade at Miami-Dade Public School as a transition specialist in district level. And at the side, I do real estate. And it's because of my grief I went into real estate. So I'll let you know a little bit about that further on. But I am so grateful for this platform. This is my first time being on a podcast. So I look forward for this experience and I hope somebody gets something out of this. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you so much. Yes. Dr. Peggy?
Oh, you're mute, Dr. Peggy. You're still on mute.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hello. Good evening.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. We are happy to be here this evening for this National Grief Awareness Day. We greet everyone. I'm happy to be on the platform of the Women Breathe Again Holistic Center, where we talk about all kind of trauma. And tonight we're talking about grief, and I'm so honored to be able to share some of the things that are important when it comes to grief and our experiences and what we have went through. I have an extensive background. I started out in education and at the high school level, and I became, involved in mental health. Worked in mental health and psych for a good amount of time, and went on to nursing, became an RN. And my predominantly strong area that I worked was ER and psych. So I do have a lot of experience in mental health. I've dealt with a lot of mental health patients as a therapist, as a case manager, as a nurse. And to top it off, I was a psychology professor at Broward College for 4 years. And I get very excited when we're talking about different areas of, psych areas, which grief is one of them, because we've been through an extensive amount of grief. And currently, I own my own businesses, which, like you, Ms. Pericles, that when you're propelled into something because of something, right? So, one of my businesses I acquired because of my grief, business that I picked up from my husband who deceased. But more importantly, I have another business, which is similar to what we're doing tonight. And it's just more linking, counseling, and inspiring people to empower them. Okay. Because at one time we felt unempowered, but by the grace of God, we became empowered by those that were around us and provided that for us. So we're hoping to do the same tonight for some people and shed some light and be able to inspire some people. In addition, I am on one of the board members of the Women Breathe Again Holistic Center. I'm happy to be working alongside Dr. Reed.
Well, thank you so much,
now.
Dr.
Thank you.
Peggy. I wanted to let our audience know that the Women Breathe Again Holistic Center is here to empower women to rise above trauma, mental illness, and to breathe again. Everything match and to breathe again. So let's go dive into this one here. Mrs. Pericles, would you explain to us, would you share with us what is grief to you? And if you want to also go into when were you affected by grief?
Sure.
What is grief to you?
What is grief to me? I just recently, got to really understand and get the full impact of grieving in 2021 and 2022. 21 is when I lost my brother. 22 is when I lost a living boyfriend, which I thought this was going to be my husband and everything else. So, and I have to say, I'm at the age of late 40s. Okay. So I just want you to understand that up into 45, I've never really experienced grief on a personal level. Yes, there's people dying every day. Yes, there's family member dying. Yes, there's people close to you that's dying, but it doesn't hit as hard and painful when it's someone that you are constantly around every day, when it's someone you grew up with, which is my brother. It doesn't hit the same. So out of 40 plus years, I've never really experienced grief till then. And like I said, I'm still dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And 2021, my brother, and in the way it happens, it's like there's little parts that I'm still asking, what is this? Because yes, we all have a time. But we all think that your time is only coming when you're sick. My brother he had some medical issue, but my brother spoke to me that day on a Tuesday. He calls me I'm at work and I'm speaking to him. We're laughing, we're joking. At 2 p.m., 6 p.m., he calls me again. We're joking around. We're trying to plan for a Super Bowl weekend. And by 10 o'clock, his girlfriend's calling me, telling me, hey, something's wrong with your brother. I'm like, what are you talking about? Something wrong with my brother. I've been speaking to my brother all day. Nothing's wrong with him. But I have to back it up a little bit. He did tell me 2 o'clock. He didn't feel too good, but he's such a jolly and outgoing person that he doesn't feel good. And I said, well, if you don't feel good, just go to the doctor. You already had a health scare a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, I have a doctor's appointment on Thursday. I'm like, well, this is Tuesday. If you don't feel good on Tuesday, go to the hospital on Tuesday, not Thursday. You don't feel good. But again, he didn't explain or express the magnitude of him not feeling good. But like I said, I spoke to him 2 o'clock that day. I spoke to him 6 o'clock that day. I spoke to him 10. No, by 10, his living girlfriend's calling me saying something wrong. By 10:40, 10:50, my cousin called and says, hey, your brother's gone. And I'm thinking, okay, good. He's going back home. He's like, no, Fred, he's gone. I'm like,
Wow.
He's gone. He's like, Fred, he's dead. I said, what do you mean? I said, I don't understand. So I found myself, and at that time I was living with my son, who's very, very close to him. I don't think he's over it, you know. And I sit there in a lonely room, contemplating, asking questions, wondering, what? I'm confused. I'm lost. I was just talking to this man the whole day. So when we think of grief, like me, who's like 40 plus, and that hits home,
Mhm.
it's hurtful. And like I said, I am still dealing with it
Yes.
the whole day. I wake up every day, like I look at his picture, I'm like, he's really gone. Like,
Yeah.
he is really gone. So,
Wow.
Yes.
if you said, how do I describe grief? I'm still asking, what is grief? Because this is just bizarre to me.
Mhm.
Okay. So what is your take on that, Dr. Peggy? What is grief to you, and when were you affected by it?
Well, the major I was affected by it. I think it started for me in 2010. And when you have those that are so near and dear to your heart, first it was my great grandmother, then it was my father, and then most recently in 2021 was my husband. And my husband of 20 years, and 5 children. And it's so amazing. As I'm sitting here listening to you, Miss Pericles, it's like grief can hit in so many different ways. For you, it was that sudden, like
Yes.
I just spoke to him and he's fine. And these type of griefs, you internalize them differently. It hits you
Yes.
differently. He was a young man, not sick, but for me, my husband was also young, 46 years old, healthy, never drank, never smoked, didn't eat extensive, medium built businessman. 20 years, my husband was never in the hospital or anything. And that day he had a sudden cardiac arrest. It hits differently because I started CPR. It
Wow.
hits differently because it was right there in my house. It hits differently where, the minute the paramedics got there, they started taking over. And all I can do was tell God, not today. I can't, God, not today. This
Right.
casket is not coming out my house today. So you see the difference.
Yeah.
Um, where he ended up, they brought him back. It was a journey for me because he was 3.5 years on a hospital bed.
Wow.
COVID hit.
Oh,
So progress was being made. COVID hit. Nobody moves, nobody gets hurt. Everything came at a standstill. But he would not have lasted that long if I wasn't his personal nurse. So that nursing training in the ER that I got, all of a sudden that trauma was in front of me. I had to react,
amen.
and it hit you afterwards. It was a very long journey, but the journey, I believe, was for me, certain things happen in certain ways. I probably couldn't handle it that day. So I needed that time. Small
Right.
children. I had
Right.
twins that were 7 years old. And and my other children, but I mentioned them because they were babies. So that grief hit big time. But what is coming to my head is no matter how it hits, it's something that is, you'll never get over it. Yes, you live,
Right.
you laugh, you have a good time, you travel, you may meet a new person, but that person, that grief will never leave you.
Oh my God, that would have been my next question, because I'm asking now, how long did it take you to grieve? Both of you. It's like, are you still grieving? Is it eternal?
I wouldn't say it's an eternal grieving because from what I experienced
Mhm.
5 years ago and where I'm at now, I'm still hurtful. I still
Yeah.
look at the picture and still hurt. So I don't
Mhm.
think that is still a form of grief. But compare to what I'm experiencing and how I'm adapting today than what I was 5 years ago, I would
Yeah.
look at the picture and cry. I would
Yeah.
think the name and cry. I go to church and cry.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because while I'm talking, I almost feel like I want to cry. But
Yeah.
so you're still grieving, but you stronger. You're stronger.
Right.
Wow.
That's so true.
What was it
That's
for you though, Peggy?
that is so true, Ms. Pericles. It's so true what you're saying. The grieving, what I've come to realize after 4 years for me, 5 years for you, and I'm like, I should be over this, right? I shouldn't be having to cry.
Right.
But again, I remember when it first hit,
Mhm.
from crying every single day.
Yeah.
Then
Right.
it reduced, right? It reduced to like twice, 3 times a week. You get it?
Right. Right.
Then it reduced to like twice a week, right? Then it reduced to like once a week.
Right.
And then after a while, you realize that you're coping, you're living, you've moved
Yes.
on, you've got to move on. You
Yes.
can't stay stuck in that in that realm,
Right.
because
Yes.
your life becomes a standstill and you will never be productive. You will not move on with your life.
Wow.
But I must say, like Miss Pericles says, grief, we can only describe it in detail like this only if you've been in it and
Yes.
going through it.
Right.
It never leaves you. You will, and I was saying this to myself, Dr. Reed, the day before yesterday. I said, this grief thing is something that stays with you for life. It gets better. You don't grieve as much, you don't cry as much,
Right.
but you do have your outbursts from
Yeah.
time to time, because
Yeah.
there's something that will trigger those
Yeah.
outbursts, right?
You're
Right.
absolutely right.
Something is going to
Okay.
be like, oh my God, I wish so and so was here. If so and so was here, I don't think, and this is when it hits you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So before we go on a break, I wanted to find out basically, you know, if you went through grief and grief is permanent, it stays with you, it just gets better in
Right.
time. I wanted to find out if you got counseling, because I'm coming with my own story as well. My first experience with grief was when I lost my best friend. She died suddenly, so that was the first one for me. The second one for me, remember that we have various type of grief. Me, that
Mhm.
was the first one, is my friend. The second one was because I lost my husband to divorce. So I
Right.
spent 4 years crying,
That's a
literally
different
four
type of.
years crying. I wouldn't even look at myself in the mirror.
Yes.
I cried nonstop, and I didn't eat much, and I lost weight, and it was terrible for me. And there are various other type of grief that I had in my life, losing my house and different things
Yeah.
that happen in life. And I want to know if you guys had counseling, because for myself, there are other ways I did not counseling per se, like going to a special counselor. I didn't do that, but I did other things, right? Like, for example, I did gardening really really helped me. I did music. I had to go by the beach. There's a lot of stuff that I had to do. So now, first of all, let them know if you did counseling, and if not, we're going to talk about, okay, so what do you do with your flashbacks and your triggers? Let's talk about, did you get counseling?
But Dr. Reed, that's a very good topic you brought up, where you said we're talking about grieving on someone who passed, but you brought up grieving upon something you lost, which is the same thing. But this someone you lost he's still here, he's still in
Yes.
existence, but you still lost that marriage. So that's a great point you brought in.
Mhm.
But counseling, I didn't do counseling on my first grieving of my brother, but I did go to counseling when I lost that living boyfriend, because I went from 2021, I lost my brother, and I was coping with it because we're being a tight family. my family, you know, my mom was in Haiti at that time. My mom and dad was in Haiti. They came down once they buried their son. They stayed here with me for a little bit. So we always, you know, feeding on each other and supporting each other that
That's
way.
good.
So I didn't really feel like I needed to go to counseling. I felt like my family was my counseling at that time, you know. But now when my boyfriend died, I was like, listen, this is overload.
Right. Yeah. Flashback.
And
Yeah.
then just my family now. I need some professional assistant because now I'm really not understanding. So these instant death that's happening. My brother died instantly. My boyfriend, we were on our way. It was a Friday. He was coming around from work, and then he was like, yo, we're gonna go to this new happy hour and get ready. And I said, I'm ready. We're happy. We're talking with joy. We joking around on the phone. And I'm like, okay, 5 minutes. He said, I'm 5 minutes away. I said, okay, great. And 5 minutes went to 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm like, where is he? So when I'm calling, phone straight voicemail, and something in me felt something's not right. And I go downstairs because usually he's downstairs either talking with his dad on the phone or whatever. So I said, I'm going to go downstairs, pretend like I'm going to the mailbox, whatever. So I go downstairs and I see a lot of flash, like blue and red outside of the complex. And I'm like, oh, Lord, I hope whoever's out there is okay.
Oh my God.
This man died of a fatal accident right outside of my complex.
Jesus Christ.
Another
Oh
instant death. So now I'm like, oh no, I need to seek some professional help because I'm not understanding this. So yes, I did seek professional help.
Okay. What about you, Dr. Peggy?
I did with me it's unique, right? I did have a support group and I did do grief counseling. Um I would say this was, yes, immediately after, I would say maybe a couple of months after he passed away. Um I just want to piggyback a little bit. You know, it no matter how much counseling you get, counseling helps you to cope, helps you to learn how to internalize your feelings, helps you to not get stuck in that situation, and also helps you to hear other people's stories and say, wow, I'm not alone, right?
Right.
But that counseling will never, ever take away that grief, especially if it's one after the other. And I did wanted to, I left something out. So besides my husband dying in 2021, you know, having to deal with that. And I lost my godmother last year, which was really my mother. Like my mom is here, but my mom was like her little sister. But my godmother was from the time I was born. They lived all together in New York or whatever. But it's like she took me as her child. That was my mom. My godmother, she's also my aunt, my grandmother's oldest child, my dad's sister. But she was so dear to me. And that, again, I'm getting over that grief from 4 years ago. And then now here you go, someone else that's so near and dear to me. That was my mom. I did the funeral because she didn't have children. 52 years of marriage with her husband, 52 years of marriage. So that was my mom and dad. So after she lost her husband, I watched her. I watched her disintegrate because that was her everything. So that I had so much grief. She lived in a house in Boynton Beach, 5-bedroom house. She stayed there alone, and there was a time that she got lost. She started getting dementia because her husband it declined her. I had to. My other aunt took her to Palm Coast, so I was left with the burden of emptying out that house with me and my kids. That's another grief. And what do you think I found in that house? Things that I knew when I was 2, 3 years old from New York. Pillows that I remember cuddling on. Albums. So, you know, it's we are very strong women. We carry a and so we just have to give the higher power praise because no matter what counseling, to maintain our sanity, to be of sound mind, body, and soul. It takes everything in us to just
Yes.
continue to be part of this society,
Yeah.
knowing that they're carrying these burdens. So we give thanks for that, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, before we thank you so much for all of that. Some women deal with it with counselors, and some we have to find other ways to deal with our grief. And
Right.
grieving can be your friend. You are grieving for your friend as well. If your friend lose a child, if your
Mhm.
friend lose her house, you'd grieve with that friend. It's like we
Hmm.
are forever grieving. So
Yeah.
now let's take a break. We are coming back with strategies to help women now understand, how to cope with that and what to do. Okay, let's take a little break and we will be back.
All right. Thank you.
Definitely. We're taking a break. Welcome back. Guys, we've been talking about grieving, right? So, grief has a way of surprising us, doesn't it? So, one day we okay, the next day a smell, a song, or even a sample memory can take us back to our pain. Now, Dr. Peggy, can you share with us exactly flashbacks? I want to know flashback if you've had that, triggers, if you've had that, and what helped you.
Absolutely. I don't think anyone who's grieving are not going to have flashbacks. For me, it's going to be a lot of flashbacks. I was with my husband since I was 24 years old. So I have a lot of flashbacks.
Yep.
Flashbacks about when we first met, flashbacks when we got married, flashbacks when I had my first child,
Wow.
flashbacks when I was having
Wow.
the other
Yeah.
children, flashbacks when I came into the home and we got our first home, birthday parties at the home, in the flashback of the day he had his cardiac arrest,
Wow. Wow.
the day he went
Still in
into that
the house. Are you
ambulance.
guys, it's still in the house that you're in now, right?
Oh gosh, I could never stay.
Okay.
Even when he was in the hospital, I stayed at my mom's and I left the house. I would go back up there periodically, wash clothes, but I could never stay in that house.
Gotcha.
Looking at the closet, looking at the clothes,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
it's just all around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you know,
What
it,
about
it,
you, Miss Pericles?
Well, like Dr. Peggy said, flashback is a daily day. It's just, flashback. Like my brother, even though he didn't stay with me, but I could be driving down the street. The music that's played, I'm like, that's Gene, that's his song. My son, I look at my son and I see the issue he goes through now, and I'm like, yeah,
yes,
Gene was here, he could have been so helpful for me right now.
right,
And as far as the boyfriend, I'm still in that same condo that I'm. So every time I used to don't even want to leave my condo, because if I leave,
yeah,
this is where the car accident was. So
yeah,
I'm able to be, leave. But when I see that post, I'm like, I shake my head all the time. I'm like, I can't believe this to die
Wow.
here. So it's a constant flashback. You always like, you think about that person, you look at the picture, because I still have their picture around, not as much. My boyfriend
Right.
had to put down his pictures. I had to put down a lot of pictures and stuff, but my brother's pictures is still there. I look and it's just a shake of head, and I just said, you know what, Lord, you take, you give, and you take.
yes,
Right. Right. Well,
yes.
talking about triggers and flashback and stuff, but healing is possible, right? I was thinking about, what about me? What about my flashbacks? Because it's not just when you lose someone to divorce, or you lost a house, but you also grieve when you had a best friend and the best friend betray you. So right now the flashback
Mm.
come back as a friend coming and start acting like that old friend.
I
So
like
you
that. I
you
like that. Best friend. Listen, when you grieving, this is where your true friends step up.
yes.
Okay. This is
Absolutely,
where those who love
Yes.
you step up, and it weaves out the fake people. Because yes,
Yes.
that was an experience for me too.
definitely,
So
definitely,
I'm sitting here looking at grieving, and there are so many aspects. It's so wide, and that's one of the reasons why I like the fact that Dr. Peggy has a special program that she has going on to help young men, young women. She's helping them, with their grieving process. She's helping them also to stay away from jail, because
Yeah,
those are the issues that when you go through it, you don't know what else to do. But wait a
yeah,
minute now. I don't
yeah.
want to go ahead of my time now. I don't want to go. What do you recommend that someone do to cope when those triggers surfaces, right?
hmm,
This is the question for the both of you. Now, I don't know if we have anybody in the audience that would like to ask a question, but right now, this is what it is for us. What do you say, Miss Pericles?
Well, the way I coped, I definitely had to get in touch with my spiritual walk. So I
Yes.
found myself reading the Bible more. I found myself, because I needed to understand, why do the Lord taking it, people like this, loving people like this. I had to go back, even though I was still in the church, but I had to go deeper into my Bible, you know,
Yes.
and I took a walk. I've incorporated hobbies that my brother, or at that time my boyfriend, was pushing me to do. I continue with these as if it's a tribute to them, like my real estate license is something that me and my boyfriend wanted to do at that time. And then I said, you know what, I'm not going to
Wow.
be let this, detour me, or I'm not going to be like, well, he's not here no more. I'm not going to go ahead and continue that goal. I'm going to go ahead and push it in, and I'm going to, push it and in honor of knowing him. So
Right.
I figured, I think that you have to keep yourself busy, because if you sit,
Mhm.
you start to think, and you start, those triggers start to occur more than usual. So you have to keep yourself mentally busy. So
Yeah,
I'll say,
you have to.
grab a hobby, grab
Yeah.
something when that person would enjoy doing, but that person's not here, but you will continue living within your, for that person.
Okay. So what
Um,
was it for you, Dr. Peggy?
for me, I must say, I got to give a shout out, and I know a lot of them because I sent this podcast, and I know a lot of them are watching. I don't know how many people you see, but I sent it to a lot of people. But my church community was my pillar, and both churches, and I have to tell you, they kept me. They kept me. They kept me. And going back more than my family.
Mm.
So I'm thankful for that. Um, like Miss Pericles said, hobbies for me, I got to give a shout out because I know she's listening right now. She's probably at work. My cousin Regine, she got me out for the first time. She's younger than me, and it's so funny because I call her my little cousin, but she's in her 40, 45. But she walked in my wedding. I'm giving away my age right now. She walked in my wedding. She was only 13, whatever, right? Um, no, she was like 10 or 11, but she walked in my wedding, and my little cousin, she would come get me and got me out of the house. That's what really, because I was in a depression mode. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
You can fall into that depression mode.
it gets there.
Nobody
Yeah.
should be ashamed to say it because you're going to get depressed.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
still do from time to time because you need that courage to get you up. There are days
Yes.
that you're not going to feel like, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't
Right.
want to be bothered. I just want to be alone.
Right.
And people just think that you're rude, or no, they don't
They don't.
understand what you're
Yeah.
going through at that time. And we're going to
Right.
have parts of that during our course of time. Also, I have a group of friends, and they're my high school friends. So we're talking about 35 plus years of friendship. So we're like from 14 years old. And that group, we get together every month. We celebrate each person's birthday for that month. We go on trips. Those are my sisters. So I have to say, thank God I do have a good support. I had a good support because I have a lot of cousins, but nobody lives in Florida because I'm from New York. Everybody's up north, but
Okay.
my little cousins. So I don't have that cousin here, and it's only me and my brother. So I don't have a lot of siblings. So, but the people around me, and I am very thankful for that. So you just got to find ways. I just want to say something very important too, and I think Miss Pericles will agree. During that process or during that time, but for me, it was different because he was on a hospital bed.
Mhm.
So people would invite you to things, places that I know that will trigger even after. You kind of avoid.
Wow.
You don't go to
Yes.
those places that will bring back
Right.
the memory. Oh my God, me and him used to come here for dinner, and oh my God, he used to sit right there. This was his favorite restaurant, right? You'll just bust out crying. I don't go to people weddings
Yeah.
because at that time
Yes.
I didn't go to people weddings because me and my husband used to match. You and your
Yeah.
boyfriend, you guys used to match when you go to somebody's wedding or something, right?
Yeah.
And you're just looking at the couples and you're like, wow, again, it brings back that memory.
Yes.
Start crying
Yes.
at the wedding, you know, for no reason. And people ask, oh my God, what's wrong?
Right.
So you need to know where your triggers are and avoid them. You need to place yourself in areas where you know
Uh,
it will not
and
bring
avoid
that
that.
memory or that sadness, right? So that's very important. Very
Yes.
important.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you
Absolutely.
mentioned how community, you need to have family, both of you together. You say community, family is important to you. But
Yeah.
that's what it was for me as well. I was part of a church, and so much, and my sons, they helped me also cope
Yeah.
with different areas of my life where I needed, someone, their hugs all the time, because they're boys, their hugs all the time. But gardening was the one for me. I used to write books a lot, and that's how I end up releasing my books, because I used to
Awesome.
journal constantly writing how I feel. That
Mhm.
was
That's
before
Yes.
that's good.
the that was before social media where people
Yes.
everybody is a coach right now. No, I didn't have that. I needed
Right.
to write my feelings out. I
Yeah.
needed to let I needed to go to the beach. I needed to go to the gardens, go
Yes.
somewhere, talk to the trees or something,
Yes.
so I could release this
Yes.
pain I was feeling. Now, the
Yes.
one I know for my friend, what I did, I stayed away from the area where she used to live. I didn't go there for a good
Mm-hmm.
year. I didn't go that route at all
Mm-hmm.
because that will
Yeah.
remind me of her.
Triggers.
So
They
Mm-hmm.
are
I
triggers.
stay away from that until I was
Mm-hmm.
healed. I passed by, but I stay away. So it's
Right.
important to avoid things that's going to trigger you.
Yes.
I think that's important to avoid. It was not
Mm-hmm.
everything can be avoided, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying for as far as you know, the
Right.
stuff that you
Right.
can control, not everything you can
Yes.
control, right?
Right.
So you
So
have
the stuff that you
strength.
can control, then you control them. Let's say, for example, you have a friend that likes to dig things in and go under your skin and speak about stuff that hurt you. Guess what you do?
That's
You
true.
speak less to that friend.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yes.
you
Yes.
usually go somewhere where there is someone that pinpoint what your pain is about, then you don't go
Yeah.
there. These are strategies
Right.
that can help you also. But I
Yes.
want to emphasize that whatever you are going through, this is the important moment right now for you to know that it's okay to grieve and not hold it in. Do
Yes.
not
Right.
hold it in because
Yeah.
that's
Right.
what's going to turn into bitterness. This is what's
Yeah.
going to turn into anger. And
Yeah.
today we want to let you know that you are not alone.
Yes.
I bring two women here, and I'm sure we could have had a panel full of women
Yeah.
and men sharing their grief. Men grieve too. They grieve their children. If after a divorce the woman separate with him and take the children away, that's a form of grief
Mm-hmm.
for men. There is a lot of pain going on. People leaving
Yeah.
their country, immigrants
Mm.
grieving. There's a lot of grief right
Yes.
now. And I just want you to know that you are not alone. Before
Yeah.
I wrap up, I want to know if Mrs. Pericles, you have one last thing you want to say before I take my turn. And then Dr. Peggy, do you have any last thing you want to say to anybody that's listening right now? Because I was about to go into it.
I like I said, I am so thankful and grateful for this platform. One of the things when I was grieving, I myself wanted to write a book. I myself wanted to scream to the world. I needed an outlet, you know. So I say to whomever listening, whomever is grieving, you need to find an outlet. You need to
Mm-hmm.
find an outlet. Because like Dr. Reed and Dr. Peggy say, it could manifest and create depression. And you don't want to go there.
Right.
You don't want to go there. You want to continue living for that person. You need to find you an outlet, find you a hobby, find you peace, most of all. So I hope
Yes.
somebody got something out of this. This was a definitely, I am grateful for this platform where I get to express because like I said, I'm still grieving. Even though it's
Yeah.
been 5 years,
You
I
still grieve.
still deal with it. I
Yes.
Yes.
still deal with it. And if you could still continue finding that outlet where you could release and just, when you
Yes.
see that person, you're no longer crying or you're actually smiling and that you actually now you're not grieving of what happened. Now you're grieving of the memory you and that person shared.
Right. Right. Right.
That's my out.
Um,
Thank you so much. I appreciate
mhm.
you.
I
Appreciate
so agree. You need to don't bottle it up inside. When you don't speak, when you don't let it out, you don't have an outlet to express your what you're feeling inside, it will turn into depression. It will turn into anger. It will turn into bitterness. And it literally can drive you crazy, and you don't want that. You want your mind to be focused. You want to be of sound mind. So it is so important. If it's counseling, peer groups, again, find a group of good people. For me it was church. For me it was my faith. Okay.
Yes.
Prayer. Through prayer, and I must tell you, for me it worked. For me,
Work for me too.
during the time that I was grieving, it was scriptures. It was scriptures. And Dr. Reed loves music, knows I love to work. I am a worshiper. I love to worship. Oh, when you put on those gospel musics and
Yes.
now it's two ways. It can either be good or bad. For me, it was good, but at the same time, it triggered because my husband, he was a worshiper as well.
Wow.
And that's what happened in church. He would be dancing and running around church, and and I'll be like, and you'll be in the pew and you're just watching like if he was here right now. So definitely, you know yourself better than everyone. You
Yes.
know yourself, and you know how everybody's different. So you know
Mhm.
your strengths, you know your
Yes,
weaknesses.
yes,
So we need to know what can we do. We use those strengths to cover the weaknesses
Right.
and to help you cope, right? So, and we just keep on with a smile on our face. What I've learned is no matter how hard it gets, as women, we got to wake up in the morning, get
Yeah.
to work. We still have to have a smile on our face.
Yes.
So, and as the scripture says, joy comes in the morning. And it
Amen.
does. Joy comes in the morning, and it does. It does.
yes, yes. I just wanted to let you know that as we're talking about that grief, I just want you to know that healing is possible. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're forgetting what happened. That's not
Mm,
what it means. It is a learning, and it means learning to breathe again
again. Yes.
Yes.
in a new
Yes.
way. You have to figure a new way to breathe through this dilemma, this grief that you are going through.
Yes.
We are closing. So you already know I love music. So we're going to hear it uh, in a few. You're going to hear it. So before we close, I'd like to share some affirmation for anyone listening who feel lost in their grief. These are for you. I honor my pain, but I'm not defined by it. I am allowed to feel every emotion and still choose healing. Grief is my love transformed. I released it at my own pace.
Yes.
In my
I
own time.
deserve peace, and I allow myself to receive it. With each breath that I take, I am reclaiming my life and my strength. To our listeners tonight, you are not alone. Your grief matters, your healing matters. Thank you to our wonderful speakers for their wisdom. And thank you for spending this time with us on National Grief Awareness Day. If you need community, if you need support, if you need resources, if you need a shoulder, if you need a safe space, the Woman Breathe Again Holistic Center, we are here. We understand. Today is National Grief Awareness Day, but your grieving is every day. We understand that. We know that. So on days that you are off, you don't feel like it, you need somebody. You need somebody to say, hey, how you doing today? Just think about the resources we have available here at the Woman Breathe Again Holistic Center, where I am your servant, founder, psychotraumatologist, where I hear you. Dr. Peggy will hear you. Anushka will hear you. Patricia will hear you. Dr. Piper will hear you. We are here to hear you, and so many other ones that we have. And Mrs. Pericles, why not? Okay, I know she loves us. So we are here. We just want you to know you are not alone. There are times that you are crying because you left Haiti. Ou quitte Haiti derrière. Ou quitte Caillou. Ou quitte famille. Ou quitte petit ou quitte tout à fort derrière. Ou vin là ou pas son travail. Moi vle faire ou connaît que ou pas pour tout. Ou quitte mari ou derrière. Ou bien famille ou derrière à mourir. Ou pas qu'à retourner pour aider. Ou même ou pas qu'on côté ou garde.
Yes.
This is grieving.
Yes.
Immigration is also putting a lot of grief in our community.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That would not be fair for me to leave this platform and not say anything to my people.
Yes. Agreed.
So tonight we want you to know, aswen le for konen ou pa pou kontou. Genye yon moun, genye yon femme qui gen zantray li tou, qui kakan pe avon nan moment difficile là. L'on besoin oreilles qui pour toi. Et là tout l'on besoin moun pour tout. Mais qui ça pour faire, mais qui ça pour faire, mais qui ça pour faire. Not all the time you need somebody to be all over you, telling you you need to do this, to do that. Sometimes you just need somebody to be there where you can vent.
Just listen. Yeah. Just
listen to you. And so this is what we are saying. www.womenbreatheagain.org. Follow our page. Visit us online and let's talk about it. I thank you so much for watching. Wait for us. We have more podcasts coming on. Every month we have something. So next month we have suicide. We have 2 guests so far. They want to talk about losing a family over suicide. Our organization is focused on the things that traumatize you. And that's what we are talking about. Not the mental illness part where you're taking medication, but we want to know what traumatized you. Because the trauma is the one that if we don't talk about it, then it's going to lead to mental illness.
Yes.
It's going to lead to PTSD. And we want our women to be solid in their mind, body, and spirit. We thank you for joining us, and you have a good night. Thank you, Dr. Peggy. Thank you, Mrs. Pericles.
Thank you
for joining us. And everyone watching, thank you so much. And you have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.